Hi, I'm Jen from Jenn's Cupcakes. Today we are here at the fair and we're going to be demonstrating how to do buttercream flowers and fondant animals. Come watch us. We have 3 shows today.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 3:30 demonstration. We have Jen and Jen, both from Jenn's Cupcakes, and they're here to do cupcake decorating. They'll do buttercream as well as fondant. I'm going to do a brief introduction and then they'll go ahead and get started. So in February 2014, Jen's baking hobby became a reality when Jen's Cupcakes and Parties became a licensed cottage food operation in Alameda County. Jen had never spent a day in culinary school, but she had the skill she was born with and just had to share, so it began. Just 3 years later, Jen's Cupcakes now has a staff with a passion for creating. They work hard to make clients' visions come to life. Their business has expanded from just 10 cupcake recipes to a full-blown custom bakery with a flair on complete party planning, including rentals and custom design. In 2016, their permit expanded to sell baked goods at local restaurants. Jen and her staff absolutely love all the fun custom orders that come pouring in every month. The hundreds of cupcakes and dozens of cakes that go out run the gamut from corporate events and weddings to fully customized theme parties. They pride themselves in creating the perfect dessert for any occasion. Everything that comes out of their kitchen needs to be both beautiful and delicious. Jen's Cupcakes is devoted to being active in the community through fundraisers for schools and nonprofit organizations. You'll see their goodies at many community events as well. When it's time for your children to book your next birthday party, call Jen's. Hands-on teaching is their specialty. They invite you to share the fun and learn how to be creative while enjoying delicious treats. As they say, it's truly fun to be in the edible art business. Jen is incredibly grateful for all the local support she has received, and a huge thank you goes out to all the clients who believed in her and have made this hobby a huge success. 100,000 cupcakes and counting. So let's welcome Jen to the stage for her cupcake demo.
Hi guys, thanks for coming out today. We're going to do some cupcake demonstrations. We're going to start with things that are really easy that everybody here can do at home by themselves. Even if you think you're not creative, trust me, this is easy. We're going to start today with some buttercream that we made that you can go to a local store like Joann's or Michael's and buy the frosting tips. We're going to start with literally Wilton 101, which is super easy. So we filled our bag with buttercream. We're going to do a basic rose tip. So you put the frosting tip straight down, press, and then you just start going around the cupcake with a light motion, and you end up with a flower. See, super easy. Everybody can do that. And that's our first one. Another step if you want to get a little more creative. So the tip I just did was called a 1M tip. It's just a Wilton basic tip. This one's called a 104. It's more of a wedding ruffle. A lot of brides choose this. And it takes patience. It takes a lot of practice. It took me probably about 100 before I was confident to sell one. But everybody can do it, and if you guys are stuck, YouTube helps everything. There's a video for everything, and if there's not a video, you're doing it wrong, because trust me, there's a video for everything. Everything we do in all of our cakes, we YouTube a lot. So the 104 has a skinny tip and a fat tip, so there's 2 openings, and you're going to put the fat end down, and you just make a center. So you're going to pipe around, and with one hand, you're going to move your cupcake, and then you place it down, so it's always going to hit your cupcake. And then you just make like a rainbow effect. So you squeeze and go in a circle, and then you stop. And it's going to start making a petal. And you just do this over and over and over, at least 20 times. And I like to make colors. So I started with a yellow buttercream, and then I put some red striping tints inside just to make a beautiful color. It costs nothing if you already have the dyes, but it makes a huge difference. And you just keep going around and around. I don't know if you guys can see it taking shape. And something like this, you can choose to make a small flower or you can choose to make it big. It just depends how many times you have the patience to go around and do this. You guys see it forming? So I want mine to be bigger, so I'm going to keep going all the way around. And with your left hand, you just spin the cupcake. So every time you go up and down, you're turning the cupcake. And you just keep going around until you think it looks good. And then that one would be it. So that's a basic rose tip. A little more complicated, but I know with a lot of practice you guys can do it. Our third one we're going to do is a grass tip. I'm sure you guys have seen this many times. It's just a grass tip. I don't know what the correct term is for it besides grass tip. But you see it on like soccer cakes, baseball cakes, all sorts of stuff. So you fill your frosting in here, and all you do is push down and just pull the bag away. It's really easy. And you just go around and around. Again, it takes patience, takes lots of time to do this over and over. You can control, do you want long grass? Then you pull it out a little more before you drop the bag. If you want short grass, you just kind of poke it down and pull up. So you have complete control what it looks like. And to make your life easier, we use the reusable frosting bags. They're only a couple dollars at a local craft store. They make all the difference in the world, and we rewash them every time. We probably wash our bags at least 5 to 7 times each a day, and we have tons of bags. If not, you can get the disposable bags. The only thing is you can't grip them. They're plastic and your hand slides the whole time. So you can try 100 times and you're never going to master it because they don't have grip on them. So much better investment to get, just if you have one real bag. And you just keep going around and around until you fill it in. And then we have a cupcake that just looks like grass. So sometimes we would put like a soccer ball in here, a football. Today we whipped out these cute little flowers. We get these little plunges. They're from Michael's. They're 3 for like $3. They're different sizes, and we just made little flowers, and we're just going to put them on the cupcake. So this is something we would do for Mother's Day, for Easter. You can put as many little flowers as you want. And then you have a cute little spring flower cupcake.
And I dusted those flowers. I rolled them and punched them out of the white fondant, and I dust them with something called luster dust. It comes in little tubs like this. It's sparkly, so it's a nice way to add a little bit of sparkle to your cupcakes. If you dust it on dry with just like a food grade paintbrush, you'll get kind of a hint of the color. You can also dilute it in like clear vanilla extract or vodka because the alcohol evaporates, and they'll give you a more vibrant color while maintaining that sparkle. But if you see like cakes that have gold or silver, things like that on them, or they look like super sparkly, it's luster dust, so it's super cool. And I'm going to show you how to do the farm animals. So we'll start out with the chick. I have all of my fondant. We use Fat Daddy-O's fondant. That's you see them all up here. Comes pre-colored. You can get it white and color it yourself if they don't have the color you're looking for, but they probably do. This is just the brand that we prefer to use. It stays really, it rolls out really easily. It doesn't crack a lot. The problem that you can have working with fondant is that it will dry out and crack. That's why I keep it all wrapped up here in saran wrap. But overall, it's very similar to working with Play-Doh. It's got the same consistency of Play-Doh. You would roll it out and cut it out just like you would when you were a kid in preschool, making shapes and things like that. So just kind of knead it a little bit, and then I start to roll it. If you really want to make your life easy and kind of take away the guesswork, these fondant rollers come with spacers that you can put on the ends that allows you to roll your fondant to an even depth, so you don't end up with like wonky fondant that's really thick on one end and really thin on the other. It just means you just like push down until you can't push anymore. For me, I'm not using the spacers today, but the fondant rollers come with them, so that's a nice little extra tool that they provide you. So I'm just rolling out my yellow fondant here for the chick. I have a circle cutter here. It's a smooth circle on one end, scalloped on the other. This is our standard cupcake topper size. We use this for our edible printed toppers for like corporate events, things like that. It's usually what I start out with when I'm creating new shapes and things like that, because I know that it's the perfect size to go on top of a cupcake once it's frosted. So I cut out a circle there. I'm also going to cut out a little oval for the wings. And then I'm going to cut that oval in half. And then we've got the beginnings of the makings of our chick here. And then I'm going to roll out some orange to make the beak and the feet. So basically for any time I'm making a cupcake topper, I usually start out with just all the shapes that I have available in this fondant cutter set. It's a great like beginner's tool if you're wanting to make fondant decorations because it pretty much has everything you need. You just take a look at it and be like, oh, I think that this could make, wings. I think that this could make a beak, or I think that this could make some kind of character that you're going for. And so you kind of makes it a little bit easier rather than free cutting everything. But you absolutely can freehand things as well. So what I just dusted on there was a little bit of cornstarch that prevents the fondant from sticking to the surface and also prevents it from sticking to my rolling pin. I'm going to use my little triangle here to cut out a beak. And then I'm going to use that same plunger cutter to cut out 2 little orange flowers for feet. So you'll find the more that you work with fondant that things can really be purposed in a lot of ways. I was looking around for ways to make chick feet, and I thought that the flowers would make perfect little feet. So, and I'm going to have Jen rewrap my fondant in between just because I don't want it to dry out. This right here is edible glue. It's what I use to stick all of the pieces of my fondant decorations together. If you don't want to go out and buy this for one little project, you can absolutely use water. Water is like glue for fondant. This is just a little bit easier, and you don't have to worry about soaking your fondant. If you use too much water, you can soak the fondant and get it really sticky and gooey. So I'm just going to use a little paintbrush here to paint on the glue so that I can put the wings on my chick. I did the same thing last time, put the glue on the wrong side. There we go. Okay, so there are 2 little wings. And we've got our triangle beak. I'll stick right in the middle there. And while fondant, when you first roll it out, it's pretty soft. So you can kind of mold it and twist it around to cover up any imperfections. If you kind of get a fingerprint in something, you can kind of squish it away. So that's nice. But once it dries pretty hard. So you can't really make any fixes after it's dried out. Okay, so we've got our beak and our little feet. And this right here is a food grade edible ink marker. And I'm just going to use that to draw on the little eyes. You can absolutely just roll out little balls of fondant for that. You don't have to go out and buy a special marker. This is just a heck of a lot easier and faster. So it's what I like to use. So in just a couple minutes, we've got our little chick. Oh shoot. There we go. And it's a little bit pliable still, so we like to leave these out at least overnight for them to dry so that they're hard enough to place on top of the cupcakes. If we try to put it on one right now, it'll kind of start to bend, and we want it to maintain its cute shape. So the next 2 I'm going to show you are both white, so I'm going to cut out the base for the cow and the sheep at once, and then I'll do the details one at a time. Still using that same circle cutter. Just for the cow, I use the smooth side, the same one that I used for the chick, and then for the sheep, I use the scalloped side to give it its fluffy look. You'll see I'm picking up and putting down the fondant a lot. I just want to make sure it's not sticking to my surface, so once I finish up my little decoration, I'm not peeling my hard work off and ruining it. I want it to come off nice and smooth. All right. Circle for our cow. And the scalloped edge for our sheep. I'm just going to tuck away some of the kind of imperfected edges of the scalloped edge so that it looks nice and neat, and set that aside for when I do the sheep. So the cow, he has a pink mouth in our case over there, but we forgot the pink today, so I had to improvise and make a little light brown. Which works just fine. To color your fondant, you can either use gel colors, or you can take colors that you have and mix them together. That's what I had. I just took a glob of white and added a teensy bit of brown, and it turned it into kind of like a peachy skin color. And I'll cut out an oval for his mouth, and then I'm going to cut out his ears out of black. And I like to, it depends on what you're doing, the order that you do things for these. I like to glue the pieces together and then kind of add the details, so then I don't chance messing it up when I go to glue it on. I don't want to make a cute little face and then go to squish it on and just mess up all my hard work. So I cut out the pieces first, glue them together, and then I add my little teeny details. So for the cow's ears, I didn't have exactly the shape that I wanted, because I wanted them to look like little kind of teardrop shape. So what I did is I took, make this a little thinner, I I took one of our small circles here and I'm going to take the circle, I'm going to fold it up like a taco, and then I'm going to pinch the bottom to make kind of a teardrop shape. And then you can kind of see it's got the look of a little floppy cow's ear. So you learn how to improvise with the cutters that you have, give character to what you're doing. Alright, so I've got all my pieces now. I'm going to glue it all together. I'm going to glue on his mouth. I'm going to put some glue straight on here for his ears. I'm going to press down the bottom of my teardrop there. And then for the cow's face, I'm doing indentations. I'm using this. This is a flower tool. It's what you use to vein flowers if you're making them out of fondant or gun paste. So it's what we have on hand. It works really great, but it's not something that you have to go out special and buy if you're doing a simple project like this. You can definitely use a toothpick, chopstick, whatever you have on hand, because all I'm doing is making little indentations and a cute little grin on him there. Same thing, edible ink marker to dot his two little eyes. And I'm also going to use the edible ink to draw on his spots. The only thing when you're working with the edible ink is that it can make indentations into the soft fondant because I just rolled it out, so it's still a little bit soft. So if you let it sit out to dry for a while, it'll get easier to draw on because it'll be like drawing on a board rather than drawing on cotton or something like that. And it's also going to stay wet for a little while, so I want to make sure that I don't touch any of those spots to smear them. So there's our little cow. And now I'll move on to the sheep. Got my black here. I'm going to use that scalloped edge circle that I cut out earlier. And I'm going to cut out a big oval for his head and a small oval cut in half for his ears. So the same one that I used for the cow's mouth, I'm going to use for the sheep's head. And the great thing about cutting out all the pieces separately too is that you can kind of mess with them and move them around and see what you think looks the best. So like when I first made the cow, I had his mouth right in the middle of his face. And I thought it might look better pushed down a little bit. Tiny details can make all the difference in the world. It can give it a little bit more fun character. So you can mess around with your pieces a little bit to figure out what you think works best or to emulate the look you're going for. Well, you see what I just did? I just dipped the cutter onto my little bag of cornstarch so the cutter doesn't stick to the fondant. Same type of thing, prevent it sticking. And then I'm going to take this little oval and I'm going to cut it in half for the sheep's ears. Alright, so I got my pieces here. I'll glue on his head to the middle of my scalloped edged circle. And then his little ears, put the glue in the right place here. And then the cornstarch, especially when you're working with darker colors, you can get a little bit of residue hanging out on the blacks and the browns. It does soft super easy, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about having white spots everywhere. And then I'm going to take a little bit of fondant for his eyes. I wanted him to have a more googly-eyed look, so a little bit more character. So I'm going to roll out little balls of white fondant for that. But this is another thing that they sell at the craft store. They sell little sugar eyes. So if you're making like little monsters or something like that and you don't want to roll out a ton of little balls for the eyes, you can buy the sugar eyes from, you know, Joann or Michael's or whatever. And then just stick them on so you don't have to be making them yourself. I'm going to put some glue on there and attach the little white balls. And then I'm going to use my edible ink to dot on some pupils. And then I'm going to use my little flower tool to put 2 little dots for his nostrils. Have a little shape. So pretty simple, all just made with different shapes that I had on hand. The last one was an improvised one that I just came up with today, the horse. We were going to show you a pig, that's what we have in the case over there, but because we brought the pink, I had to find something else to show you guys. So, with the brown, I'm going to cut out the same circle, but then I'm going to kind of tweak it a little bit to make it more an elongated oval, which is more similar to the horse's head shape that I was going for. Okay, cut that circle, and then I'm going to cut an oval, which I'm going to cut in half for his little ears. I'm going to make his ears kind of similar to how I did the cow's ears, but instead of them, the teardrop facing down, I'm going to face it up so they're pointy. And I'll get some of the light brown to make his mouth and his hair. It's really a time saver to have Jen here wrapping up my fondant for me. I usually am scrambling to wrap it up so that it doesn't dry out. Alright, so I'm going to use that same oval to cut out his mouth, and then I'll show you how I tweak the shape. Okay, so for this big circle, I'm going to cut off the edges of it, so you end up cutting off a little bit of a crescent moon shape on either side, so that I'm getting that oval shape rather than a circle. So I have the oval, and then I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit while it's still pliable, so that we have the oval rather than the circle. And then for his snout, I'm going to kind of flatten out one of the edges just to make it look a little bit different. I don't want him to look like a brown cow. I want him to look like a horse. So I want him to have a little bit of a different character to him. And then for the ears, I'm going to cut this oval in half. And then on that flat edge, I'm just going to pull those 2 pieces up and pinch it, similar to how I did the cow, but I didn't want it to have as much of a cup shape. I just wanted it to be just the teardrop, so that they're sticking straight up. Do the same thing on this one. And then we can glue all my pieces together. So I'll glue his mouth onto the bottom of that oval there. And I'll put some glue up here for his ears. And then I'm going to roll out kind of a snake of this light brown so that I can make some hair for him. Another cool tool that we have, if we were in the kitchen, I'd probably use it, is an extruder. I don't know if you've ever, when you played with Play-Doh when you were little to make Play-Doh spaghetti, it kind of goes like this, and the spaghetti comes out. We have one of those for fondant. And we stick the fondant in, and we have all these little different size holes so we can make hair or strings or things like that. So we have all kinds of fun tools in the kitchen, but it's definitely not something that you absolutely have to go out and buy. You can roll a snake by hand and cut out some hair for yourself. It's just a matter of how involved you want to be in it as a hobby. This is another tool that I use pretty frequently. When I can't find a shape that I'm looking for, I'll use an X-Acto knife to hand cut exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes I'll use a stencil. I'll get a stencil that I'll print out of a shape or of a sports team logo or something like that, like I did the San Jose Shark one time, and I had to kind of use the stencil to get the general shape before I added all the detail by hand. But sometimes it's hard to do things freehand, no matter how much practice you have. So, I'm going to put some glue in between his ears. I cut out 3 little pieces from that snake to make a little tuft of hair that I'll stick between his ears and kind of tuck that little piece back. And then use my handy edible marker again to dot his 2 eyes. And same thing, I'll do his little nostrils and a little grin. And we've got ourselves a horse. Thank you. We do. We do lots of weddings.
Every weekend.
Yeah, every weekend we've got weddings.
Years ago, and me and my wife ordered cupcakes. Everybody got a cupcake with them.
That happens a lot. It says cupcakes, wedding cakes are not trending anymore at all. And we do a lot of weddings. We do between 50 and 60 a year. And every year we do less and less wedding cakes because cupcakes are an experience. We do the whole dessert bar. We do sweet treats with them. We have the rentals. We come in and do them. It's an experience. It's a wow factor. It's, ooh, I want to go over there. A cake, everyone has a cake. Like, it's not exciting for a wedding cake. And a lot of people get it. They pass on the pieces. There's always leftovers. So what's trending right now is to do a small cut cake. So you still have that traditional moment of cutting a cake, and it's small, and then you have the whole dessert bar to go with it. So that's pretty much what we specialize in. I mean, we do a few full-on wedding cakes a year, and we always get the feedback. We had so much cake left over, nobody wanted any. And I'm like, no one listens to me. So in those weddings with the dessert bars, like you're saying, the couple doesn't even get it because it's so popular, it's gone in a second. So definitely a big difference in trends that have changed. So there's still a little... It happens, so... But I think that's it. I think that's all Jen has to show you today. We are selling everything that she's demonstrating, minus the horse, because I forgot the pink fondant because we have another booth going on and there's too much going on right now, so I forgot the pink.
If you absolutely have to have a horse, I will make you a horse. But yeah, we're selling pigs over there.
So everything's for sale. Thank you guys for coming to watch us.
Thank you so much for coming out. If you have any more questions, we'll be here.